Hello, everyone. This is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to this Kundalini conversation. I have been asked by some of the people to open up a live video feed for people that have questions, and so this one is here for that. So if you have a question, then please feel free to ask it. I see that a few folks are coming on right now. Hello, Rosemary, Dell, and Tommy, and Pamela, Neil. Hello, everyone. Here, see if I can wave back at you here. Waving. They give you these little wave buttons. Oh, Ishta says somebody's here. Hello, Vincent. Yes, hello. And Gordon. Ishta, please, honey. I have two dogs here, and a crow and a cat. And so I've been asked to show you some of my furry friends. And so here we go. That is Inara. Inara, baby. Look up. Say hello to everybody. Hi, hi, hi. And this is Mr. Crow right there. Inara and the crow are kind of hanging out together. Hello, Mr. Crow. Hi. Yes, yes, yes. Hi, babe. So Lasha, the cat, doesn't really feel like being on camera right now because she's the princess. She doesn't have to be on camera. so there you go. And hello, Pat and Ben. Hello. And so, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you have a question, please write it out there, and I'll do everything I can do to answer it for you, or at least I'll give you my perspective on it. Let's put it that way. So until that occurs, I guess I better have some sort of a narrative. so here we go. In this narrative, a lot of people are coming into the awakened state. A lot of people are, because of the internet and because of who they are and how they are, they're coming into the awakened state, and they want to just dive right in. And I think it's better to do some research first and to find out how others maybe have walked this path. It can be a real egotistical thing to just want to do it your way or the highway, and meaning, your way or the motorway. It's a whole new multiverse. It is a whole new reality. And within this reality, you have some challenging areas, and it's best to know about those challenging areas before you dive right into those challenging areas. Hello, Sherry. Good to see you. And Neil. Oh, here we are. Mayank. Hello, Mayank Sharma. Delad. Ishta, please, my dear. My dear. Thank you. Let's see. Dell is asking a question. He says, I had what I believe to be a migraine today, blind spots and beautiful visuals. It was without any pain, so it wasn't a migraine. Could this be a symptom? Went away as I surrendered to it. Yeah, Dell, this can definitely be a symptom. You might want to describe some of the visuals, but yeah, that can definitely happen. That can definitely be a symptom of an activation. So that's a good thing. Dell, nice going. Congratulations. Very well done. Especially your surrender to it. Well done, my friend. And I see Patty Pope from Australia or other parts of the world. Hello, Patty. Nice to see you. And Gordon, hello. Steve, not quite sure how to say your last name. Quetlgtles. Quetglis. Steve, I'm sorry for ruining your name that way. My apologies. I'm just not really good at it all the time. Bucheb, hello. So if people have questions, I'm going to encourage you to ask them right now. Go ahead and write it down in the little speech window that they give you here, and we'll go ahead and answer them as best as possible. When people come into this, I was just telling a gentleman earlier today in a private email that it's good to see you, Patty. Definitely. I was telling him that, wanting to dive right into the Kundalini. He heard I was giving Shaktipat, so he heard that I do transmissions, and so he wanted to partake of that, without any kind of real understanding of what that means. And what I told him is, when you start out with the activation, it's like you're the worm at the top of the aquarium, which means that you're food for everybody because you don't know what's going on. And we all start out this way. We really, literally, unless you have a master from the time that you're born, or even, if you have a master by the time that you're inducted into the Kundalini, you're going to start off with a fairly strong level of ignorance and innocence, and that innocence can be taken advantage of by certain other types of consciousness. And so it's very, very important for people to understand what certain types of consciousness are floating out there that may want to take advantage of their innocence. And Del Hod is adding, he says, the visuals moved like light in the water. It ripples in a solid geometric shape. It's very good. Yeah, this is very good. This is taking you into the sacred geometry, a language of light, so to speak. Sacred geometry really is. It goes through the dimensions. It is, and there are also geometric shapes that are consciousness of themselves, Del. So this is very good. Go ahead and really be grateful for that. Make sure that gratitude is expressed, and practice those safeties as I think you have been doing, and continue to do the goodness upon this world as I know that you're doing. So nicely done, Del. Well done, my friend. And I say hello to Brenda Alt and John Hardy and Pat. Pat Patain has a question. She says, so I struggle with the surrender. I didn't ask for this. What's at the other end? Well, okay, all right. So the surrender is a necessity. You must do this. This is like having God bring his finger down upon your shoulder, and you don't want to be pushing that finger away. You did ask for this, and you knew it was coming. You just don't know in your mortal expression what it is, or that you asked for it, that it was coming. Kundalini doesn't come to people accidentally. And so part of your learning, part of the teaching that is being given to you, is that you accept what you cannot change. And this is one thing that you cannot change, Pat. And so you surrender to this, and you allow this to make the changes that it wants to make upon you. And it will. It will make the changes. Now, if you struggle with it, you can make those changes really painful. Seriously painful, if you struggle with it. If you choose to resist and to struggle with it, those changes can come hard and harsh, but they will come. Okay. You can distort them as well. You can go to a psych ward. You can have them pump you full of drugs, and the changes will still occur, but they'll be twisted. Your reception of them will be twisted, and you'll make things a lot worse than they need to be. Kundalini is a friendly force. It is a friendly force, just like like a parental force, and it will initiate its agenda upon you. This is what your life at this time is all about, Pat. It's all about that. It's all about being guided from the grace within you, whether or not you asked for it. Many, I'd say a good, 40% of the people never asked for Kundalini to come, and yet it comes anyway. So that's my my. Take that opinion for what you think it's worth, and if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. And I'd like to say hello to Sean and Gordon. Gordon has a question. He says, I've had a distinctly different, seemingly permanent taste in my mouth since physical changes began in earnest. Any insight of that? Well, you might want to describe what the taste is. Is it a metallic taste? Is it a sweet taste? Is this still recording? I need to see some hearts or happy faces if this is still recording, because I just got a trying to reconnect signal. So I want to make sure that I'm not just talking to the air here. So I was responding to Gordon. So these hearts are telling me that it is still recording. Then I'm just going to take that chance. All right. Sorry, Gordon, for that interruption. Sometimes if a person is receiving amrita, which is like pineal sweat, which is like a fluid that is developed on the skin of the pineal gland and drips down through the nasal passages, it can be a sweet kind of a beautiful taste in the mouth. And so if that's what it is, that's one thing. Detoxifications. Oh, okay. Gordon is saying it is more sweet, not metallic, and so that's definitely a good thing. But don't do what a lot of what a lot of people do, and they try to do everything they can do to take as much amrita into themselves as they possibly can. Oh my God, let's do the Kachari Mudra, which is to stick your tongue all the way back into the nasal passages. No. Let what is to come. Don't try to force things. More is not always better. Sometimes it just needs to be a patina of taste in the mouth that will bring a permanent level of sweetness, not only to your taste buds, but to the words that you speak, because that amrita is full of energy, and that energy is full of love, and that love is full of grace, and that grace is an expression of the divine. Okay, so there you have my take on that. Thank you, Gordon, for the question. Excellent question. What happened here? Oh, I see. Gosh, how do I do that? Oh my gosh. I don't know how that works. It just switched my... Oh, there we go, down here. All right, so Bucheb has a question, and here we go with that. It's what do you think the reasons that Kundalini wake up when people are not wait or no? Oh boy. When people do not want or know about it, I guess is what he's saying. It's time. When the fruit is ripe, it will fall. It develops that sweetness, and much of the time, like say with Pat and with other people, the fruit is ripe, and so the fruit is ripe, it will fall, and it is time for you to fall into grace. Not fall from grace, but fall into grace. And Kundalini is that grace that falls into you from the divine that is within and outside at the same time. That is the main reason why this occurs. But thank you for the question. Excellent question. And hello to you, Brenda. And hello, Sharon. Hello, Toli. Hello, Robert. I see a few of my Shaktipat people there. And Dwayne, Your Holiness. Hello, Eric. Sorry, I know I'm going to hear from you, Dwayne, on that one. Sherry is making a statement, I guess. Sherry says, Kundalini came to me after I prayed for truth. I didn't know that Kundalini existed. And so there we go. And hello, Richard. And okay, I think Yelena Dubiel is asking a question. I'm not sure, but here we go. Today, I feel the whole day tingling on top of my head, cold and warm at the same time. I can't basically determine if it's cold or warm, kind of a pressure. And hello, Felicia Stark. And Yelena, that would be sacred male, sacred feminine converging at the crown. A slow convergence. It does not have to be lightning fast. It can be a very slow convergence. And you will feel cold and heat at the same time. And it will cause a tingling. It will cause a tingling. You just accept this and have gratitude for this, Yulina. This is a very, very, very good symptom. Embrace it. Allow it. Encourage it. And be grateful for it. Congratulations. Gordon, oh, you're welcome. Absolutely. So there we have it. I guess everybody's asked all the questions that they want to ask. Let me review here a little bit. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Gordon, yep, Pat, and oh, Steve, thank you. Thank you. Sorry if I destroyed it. Let's see. Dell. Okay, so I feel free to go ahead and write some more questions while I continue with the narrative. So as we come into grace at the beginning, a lot of people here are beginning with grace. Some people aren't, but a lot of people are beginning with grace. And so what you need to understand is that it's a huge reality shift, and that reality shift contains levels of challenges that you need to be aware of. Entities, as I've discussed in other videos, are one of them. Extreme mood changes are another one. Extreme mood changes, and as Dell has been experiencing, you're going to have visual phenomena that is not normal. Visual phenomena that has this level of intelligence behind it that you can't figure out. You'll see floating lights. People have been writing on the group lately about seeing floating lights, and I usually call them diamond suns because they sparkle so strongly, and they have their own consciousness. They float across your visual field, and they just they'll stay there for a certain amount, then they float over here, and then up there, and then up and gone. So you'll see a lot of visual phenomena. Some of you, as you go deeper into it, like say Gopi Krishna, you'll see masters will come up. People will show up in your life, or they'll show up in a vision, and they'll be giving you specific instructions about forgiveness, about letting go of your control, about opening to divine wisdom rather than egotistical wisdom, things of that nature. Very, very important work, and so it's very important to look at that. And I see we have some questions, so thank you, everyone. Sherry, or Shari, I'm not quite sure. Ms. Voorhees, if you could let me know which way. She says, I'm about 12 years into the Kundalini. What can I expect at this point? You can expect to have no expectations. That's number one. Everybody's different with this. You came into this with a different kind of karma than I did, and I came into it with a different kind of karma than Yulina did. We're all different in how the Kundalini expresses itself through us. If you're practicing the safeties, if you're actually doing these every day, and you're actually doing the safeties, not just the 5 Tibetans, but you're doing the forgiveness work, the gratitude work, the service to strangers type of work, the appreciation of all life and all consciousness type of work. If you're doing these levels of the safeties, then you can expect stronger levels of Kundalini to come through you and to you. And when that occurs, any number of things can happen for you. I don't know if you're, I have bliss every day. I have bliss every single day. Now, I don't know if that's happening to you, Sherry. Sorry, that's not the way you pronounce it. But But that you can expect. If you're going to have an expectation, you can have a lot of bliss. You can have a oneness that is constant, a level of oneness with all creation that is constant. You can begin to immerse yourself into the act of service. And the more you give of yourself, the more you're able to receive the blessings that come from Kundalini. You know, this kind of goes right back to St. Francis of Assisi. Dear God, let me serve rather than be served. Okay, let me serve others rather than having others serve me. And he just goes through a bunch of levels of examples that way. So if you're doing that, then extreme levels of love, and if you're in an actual spiritual practice where you're meditating every day, you're doing the safeties every day, you can expect to have some level of phenomena increase within you if that is part of your program. It can happen. You know, levitation, psychometry, telepathy is very common. Telepathy is one of the first things that a person can receive. And so that's just kind of a thumbnail sketch for you there, Shari. Mayank Sharma says, more I concentrate on the root chakra, the more pressure I feel on the top of the head. Is this fine? And this is good. This is good. As above, so below. As below, so above. And I know you're in the Shakti pot, and I know that I gave you a very strong root chakra activation this morning at 3 a.m. Pacific time. And that is a great symptom. And, you know, that's a confirmation, Mayank. So keep your practice strong. Do the work. Do the practice. And I'm not just talking about the work for the Shakti pot, but go out there and help somebody today. Somebody you don't know, somebody that's not in your family or your friends. Go out and help someone today. All right, so continuing on. And Neil Lynn says, wow, yes, extreme mood change. And that's true. That is true enough. Dwayne Stoltz is saying, what about intense pressure in the back of the head? Comes and goes. Well, Dwayne, is that at the base of the neck? I mean, if it's where the neck joins the skull, right there, well, that's where the hammer is. And if your hammer may be getting used a lot simply because it needs to change the level of energetic frequency that's going to enter into your head. Okay, the body is built with certain safeties and governors that allow specific frequency to come into the head at a given time, so that you don't have amazingly splitting migraine headaches. Even though some people do have that, they have it for a different purpose. If you're having it from looking at you, Dwayne, you know, from what's happening to you in your life and how you're approaching life, then the hammer's going to kick in, and it will give you pressure. It will give you pressure there. Not necessarily pain. Soreness, okay, sure, but not necessarily, you know, excruciating pain. So there you have it. Comes and goes. The hammer turns on and the hammer turns off. Andrea, Emil, hello. I'm going to wave right back at you. Dell is back again, and he says, I had a heron fly over my head twice today. I felt connected. What do you think this could be? Well, a heron, any of the herons or the egrets or the flamingos, these are very, very sacred birds. They were a sacred bird in the Egyptian culture, extremely so. And they've been a sacred bird in my life, too. To the point where we have a place where egrets nest, and sometimes the little ones fall out of their nest. Well, I'll scoop them up, and I'll take them in, and I'll nourish them until they get, you know, well enough to be let go, and then I'll let them go. Just like Mr. Crow here. Wherever Mr. Crow went. Where is Mr. Crow? Oh, right behind me. Hi, guy. So as soon as he grows his tail feathers and is able to get by with his club foot. He fell out of the nest. He had a club foot, and so he fell out of the nest. Well, he'll be let go if he wants to go. If he wants to stay, he can stay. He's kind of a nice bird. Messy, though. Crows are really messy. The herons were kind of messy too, but not in the same way. Yeah, so I would say the heron is definitely a good sign of grace, taking notice of you. And the very fact that you recognize that, and hopefully that wasn't given to you by, an entity, but the very fact that you recognize that and you experience that is a good sign as well. So nice going, Dell. And yes, Shari, you are truly blessed. You definitely. And hello, Taylor. Nice to see you. Josh, how do you pronounce Beil? Bale, I guess is what I'll call it. Josh, I'll just call you Josh. Josh is asking a question. He says, can you talk about seeing sparkles or flashes of light, sometimes colorful like blue or purple or yellow, sometimes just white? I see them often daily when staring at the sky and clouds. And there was a post by another member about the same thing today. Yeah, okay, definitely. I'll talk about that. These lights that you can see, there are different kinds of lights. Some lights are actual consciousness. A consciousness that is not within a body can be seen as a light. Thank you. Thank you for the correct pronunciation, Josh Beal. So, some lights, as I mentioned before, like the diamond suns that kind of float around, definitely are consciousness driven. Some lights are more of a pranic or energy, life force based thing. So if you get to a certain point where you're able to see prana on everything, well, then you'll see everything is kind of lit up with a blue-white light, sometimes a golden light as well. And these lights have different meanings. And so, depending if you're looking at the sky and you'll see a lot of movement, kind of, some people call those prana dots. That is, there's a lot of stuff going on there. There's some stuff that's in your eye that is going on. So people have floaters. You'll see those if you're staring at the sky. And you'll also see some lights. And the lights are just part of the energetic field that surrounds this world, but also it can be intermixed. You see, all this stuff mixes up, and so it can be intermixed with luminescent intelligence, what we'll call it, the Li. Luminescent intelligence comes in the form of lights. And also, if you see orbs are definitely luminescent intelligent. Orbs are often disembodied spirits, people that have moved on but haven't moved on. They moved on from a physical expression, but they haven't moved on, into the higher planes yet. And they are orbs. If you go to any of the castles of Ireland or England or France or Europe in general, you can see a lot of orb activity. I've seen a lot of orb activity at the 14th parallel in Brazil. A lot of orb activity there. And of course, they can be photographed as well. And I've had them on photographs. If you go to the cathedral in France called Shot, and I know that it's not spelled S-H-O-T, it's spelled C-H-A-T, something like that. It's the Shot Cathedral in France. If you take your camera in there, you'll get some orbs on your picture, kind of like bluish white, kind of milky colored circular objects on the digital print. And I saw most of them around the all over the place, really. And they can be on the floor, they can be up in the air, they can be all around. And if you get a good shot of one, you'll see that there's an actual face inside that orb. So it kind of give you an idea what's going on with that. I hope that helps you, Josh Beal. And say hello to Paula Amero up there in Northern California. Hello, Paula. And so, yeah, a lot of light phenomena can occur with the Kundalini, especially at night, but not necessarily just at night. I have it in the daytime, in the nighttime, all the time. And the flashes people will see a flash of brilliant white light, and that is that is something that is being given into you. Pardon me. That is something that's being given into you, and that is something that you're not allowed to see, but you are allowed to feel and experience. You're allowed to see it to the point where it is flashing at you, but that's about it. It's like a luminescent download, like a flash drive, with a different meaning of the word drive, a flash drive. That's kind of cool. All right. Let's see. Any other questions here? Well, I'll just go ahead and continue. Please don't be shy. I mean, I don't do this very often, and so I'm not asking questions. And just in case you're private emailing me or private messaging me, I'm not going to check my messages while I'm doing this. So no, because I barely know how to do this rather than check my messages at the same time. If you have a question, though, please feel free to ask. And if it's an X-rated question, then we'll kind of phrase it in a way that, isn't misconstrued by others. Okay. All right. So as we explore, and in our early explorations, people come up and they say, "Oh, I want a Shaktipat. I need a transmission. I want this and I want that, and I want to be able to use the energy for goodness and grace and to spread that goodness and grace all over the place." Hello, Kathy. And that's all well and good for the ego mind to say these things, but the enlightened mind will say, I want the powers and the skills to use me in the divine way that grace wants to use them through me. I would like to be a conduit of divine grace rather than try to control and use the divine grace the way my limited awareness is able to discern. And so it's very important for people to make that distinction. And that's what I tell people. I say, often, when I'm at a seminar, one of the main questions I ask people is, why do you want this? Whatever possessed you to pay $300 to come to this seminar, to listen to an old guy wearing glasses and has a fake beard, looks like Santa Claus, and you want to receive energy from this man, and he has such a bad reputation. Oh my God. Why do you want this? They'll give me various reasons. And they say, well, I want to help people. I want to help. I say, well, okay, that is a good reason. That is the best reason. And then I go, how will you do this? How will you help people? And they'll say, well, I will do this, and I will do that, and I will do this, and I will do that. And I say, well, and typically if they're just looking at being helpful, well, then I'm good with that. Let's all be helpful. Let's do that kind of work. But as they continue further, you want to surrender to the point, and this gets back to Pat's question about surrender. You want to surrender to the point where the grace is done through you, by the grace of God, not by an entity. You see, you have to learn how to discern between the two, but by the grace of the divine, which will not speak to you in words. It won't say, Chrism, I want you to help these men. No, it won't say that. And it won't have some weird accent either. Those are entities. You won't hear that type of thing. You'll just feel enveloped in a compelling. And this goes to one of the questions that I saw in the group Kundalini Awakening ! On Facebook. It's about the food that you eat and how you should surrender to what the Sacred Mother wants you to eat. Okay? This is very important. And this is one of the ways that the Sacred Mother, Shakti, Kundalini, will communicate with you. You will be compelled. It's like, oh, I feel compelled to just eat bananas all day long. I just feel this urge comes over the person to eat bananas, or you can just like, oh my God, all I can do is eat squash all day long. I am a squash addict. All I can do is eat squash, and this is how the Kundalini will compel you to help you understand what it is she wants you to eat, and it's going to include meat sometimes. I'm not going to say that's the sole source of nutrition for you, but I am going to say that it's part of the nutrition for you, and you need to surrender that, regardless of your cultural indoctrination and programming. I know that people in India, I hear it over and over. My Yanks is telling me this. He says, I have never been anything but a vegetarian since I was born on this world. My family was just vegetarian, and all we ate was vegetarian. There was nothing else and I feel sorry about the dead little chickies if I eat an egg. First of all, the chickies aren't going to hatch because they're not fertile eggs. And if you knew anything about biology, they're not dead chickies. Okay? So no chickies are dead. You're not eating dead chickies. Well, you're eating the potential. You're eating that which would have nourished them had they been fertilized, which they weren't. So there is no shame, no guilt, no problem. There shouldn't be any problem with eating eggs. But the same thing goes with the flesh, and I've discussed this before, and I'll just touch on it again. I apologize for those of you that already know this information. Kundalini is a carnivore. She represents herself as a carnivore. The tiger, the shark, the lion, the bear, the wasp. All of these creatures are carnivores. Praying mantis, serpent. All of these things are carnivores. I have not ever seen a serpent that is a vegetarian. Please enlighten me if you've seen one or if you know of one. And there's a reason why she represents herself this way. Carnivores eat flesh. Flesh is the product of plants. Plants are the product of minerals and sunlight. And so when a carnivore eats the flesh of an herbivore like a deer or something like that, they're also eating the plants. They're also eating the solar radiation. They're also eating the minerals. Okay, the minerals that are in the soil. And so there's a compact level of energetic and energized protein that is being given. And that is being taken from that animal. And sometimes we have to partake of that kind of nutrition as well. And you have to go into it with strong levels of gratitude. And I have to tell you, I don't like killing anything either. I don't like killing things. But I have killed things, and I have gone fishing, and I've killed a fish in order to feed myself the fish. And whenever you buy food at the grocery store, if it's of a meat quality, then you've partaken of that kill and the pain that went into that kill. And this is just something that you really need to begin to understand and to realize it is not the way the ego computes it. And now I have a question here, so I'll leave that with you. So Dwayne Stolfus says, my chicken eggs are fertilized. Well, good for you, Dwayne. Richard Yowart says this. He says, hi, Chrism. Just wondering what your thoughts on recovery groups are. I made my way into a popular alcohol recovery program a few years back, but I think I was going through, let's see if I can get that. It's a continuation here. There we go. But I think I was going through a dark night phase. Is this a safe place to be, or a lot of entities? Yeah, lot of entities. I would say probably not as safe as you think. Okay, AA meetings or NA meetings or many of these meetings where people have done a lot of substance abuse, they're packed with entities. Packed with entities. Good ones too, not just bad ones. You know, the angels are there and trying to help people not go back to their addiction, but there are those that are embedded, and they are there, the negative ones. So Richard continues. He says, he says, I feel like it's a good platform for service work, and they practice a lot of the same things you do: forgiveness, surrender, prayer, meditation. But my intuition tells me there are some people with questionable motives. There are some people there, many of the people there, Richard, that are possessed. They're possessed by negative entities that are going to try to work their will on other people that are actually there within an innocent expression, trying to get better, trying to improve their lives, trying not to hurt themselves further with the substance abuse. So it's important for you to realize that. Now you can work with people there, but I would not pray or meditate with them. I would do that somewhere else. Maybe in the forest, maybe next to a tree, maybe somewhere within a natural environment, or just your own living quarters. I would not try to go into an altered state within the Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous types of organizations. I think they're good organizations. I think they're trying to do a really good thing, and I think they do a good thing. And I will also say that a lot of people activate their Kundalini by going to these groups. By trying to get out of alcoholism, they actually activate their Kundalini. So, the best way for you to approach this is to do goodness all the time and recognize nefarious motivations. Recognize somebody who is willing to try to control another person for their own egotistic thrill. You know, it's like, yes, I can control this person. I forget what they call them. The sponsors. I'm somebody's sponsor, and so, unless you call me and unless you do what I tell you to do, and this type of thing, you have to kind of look out for those types of people. But yeah, I wouldn't meditate there, wouldn't pray there so much. I would, because within a Kundalini context, you can do a lot of good service there. But be aware. Like you said, your intuition is telling you something. And by intuition, I'm going to suggest that your Kundalini is telling you to look out for these sharks that are swimming, in the water. Everybody's bleeding there to some degree. And they're going to go for the easy prey. Sharks will go for the easy prey. All right. And moving on. Hello, Emmett. Good to see you, my friend. And Delhad says, I had a dream running away from something in a jungle and ran into an anaconda-sized cobra. Instinctively, it bit me, but then scared away that which was chasing me. Aha. So that was a good thing. Really vivid. That was many years ago, before a deep depression. Was this a sign? Yeah, that was your Kundalini. Hello. The anaconda-sized cobra bit you, which would be, the Shakti feminine, bit you, but scared away that which was chasing you, which, was doing you a service. Was doing you a service. And so, but because you didn't have a teacher and because you didn't have any information at the time, you went certain ways with it, which was your karma to do, and you followed your karma. But Del, if you look at the work that you've done, you've been a kind and considerate and helpful person, and that speaks a lot for the truth that is within you. And moving on here, And Felicia Stark says, how do you shield yourself from these entities? Well, one of the things that you do is goodness. Goodness fills your radiance with a vibration and a frequency that the negative entities cannot really partake of. A lot of the times they want to suck off your energy. They want to eat your energy. They want to use you in certain ways for their own, sinister gratification. And I have to say that, most of the entities that prey on a Kundalini person are not positive. These are not angels. Okay. These are negative entities. These are corruption-based entities that the Kundalini will allow you to have in order to compel you to make certain choices that will determine and describe the level of energetic vitality that you're going to radiate into this world. So you do goodness, and the good things that you do permeate your body, permeate your aura, permeate the radiance that you give, and from that radiance of goodness and love and kindness and compassion and consideration and truth and honesty and self-discipline and self-correction, these levels of grace, of love, will determine and effectively shield you from these entities, from the corruption entities. So that's really how you do it. I know people are expecting a shield and a sword, and that's your shield and that's your sword. It's not the same way as is here on this world. It's a different way. It's a higher frequency. It's a higher energetic type of multiverse. Okay, so it's something that you really want to consider, and that's how you shield yourself, my dear Felicia. And you're welcome, Richard, and you're welcome, Dell. And so, kind of going along with Felicia's question about shielding, a lot of people, they tell you to shield it. Like, I have this shield, and it's like I'm saying abracadabra, kazoom, kazam, and this is my shield, and I am as I am. Sorry, it's Dr. Seuss in me. And so they take this shield and they're like waving it around everywhere, and they're going into a house. It's like, shields on full, Scotty. It's like phaser banks ready. So you don't need to do that. Actually, when people ask about shielding, they're advertising their fear. The entities love to hear you say, I'm shielding against this, and I'm shielding against that over here. And the entities could care less about your shields, your magic little talismans. It's like, this is the magic watch. It is also my shield. The magic watch shall keep all negative entities away, but I have to have it turned right or it won't work. So, it's silly. This is the magic black bear cup, and if you drink from this cup, then you'll be shielded from all sorts of terrible entities. And it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. Shielding in this way is a lazy man's advertisement of fear. If you do what I suggested for Felicia to do, radiate love, radiate service, radiate gratitude, radiate trust, give yourself to God, you've kind of surpassed the points of corruption that could come and antagonize you and to build fear within you. That's not to say that you see a great white shark swimming in the ocean and you go in and try to make friends. Okay, you got to use common sense. Shielding against corrupting entities is not the same as, placing your hand in the tiger's mouth. That's just stupid. So the shielding is, you might want to, practice enough love and kindness and consideration and self-correction to shield you away from your own stupidity. Okay, it's just common sense, I know. Daniel stuck his head in the lion's mouth. Well, unless you're Daniel, I'll advise you to keep your head out of the lion's mouth. And I know that's just an analogy for a certain Christian thing. But yeah, I just want you to start using some common sense, uh, and be a good person. Be a really, really, really good person, and do not fear because somebody says, "Wow, you know, if you didn't throw salt over your right shoulder and pepper over your left shoulder and spin around 3 times, then the worst things are going to happen to you." You just don't want to buy into that bullshit. Bovine excrement. Okay, all right. All right, well, I can see that people are running out of questions here. And so I'm giving a last call for questions, last call for questions and and I want to, I really want to thank you all for watching. If you, I'll be doing, I don't know, I've been limiting this to like one every Saturday because people get bored, watching a video. And this is like almost an hour. This is a 50-minute long video right now, and so it's probably way too long for people. So anyway, I want to say thank you everybody for watching, and I can only tap dance so long waiting for your questions. so, so thank you, Dal. I'll enjoy the weekend. I will. And oh yeah, for those of you in the Shaktipat now, look. Last night it was a very strong transmission, and you should be feeling it. But if you don't nurture it, that campfire that was placed at the base of your spine, going down your legs and up through your spine, that will go out. So you really want to practice what the Shaktipat protocols are. Really. And tonight at 3 o'clock, I'll be working on the second chakra. So you need to be aware. You are now in the second phase of the Shaktipat. And my friend here, Mr. Crow, he's waving goodbye. And I want to wave goodbye too with my little wings here. And but before I go, I'll ask Felicia, or I'll answer her question, which is tingling in the palm of the hand. What does that mean? It means that the palm chakras are being stimulated. So there you go, everybody. Thanks for watching.